Let me tell you a painful truth about your dreams. You have big dreams, you see yourself succeeding, you imagine the life you want so clearly that it almost feels real. But when it comes to actually doing the work, you freeze. You wait. You tell yourself, tomorrow will be different. And tomorrow comes. And you do the same thing all over again. This isn't just your problem. There's an entire category of people who are exactly like you. Ambitious but lazy, full of ideas but stuck in place. And the worst part is, you know you're capable of more. You just can't seem to make yourself move. Let's start here because what most people don't understand is this. This isn't about being a bad person. It's not about lacking intelligence or talent. This is about psychology. This is about patterns that have been built in your brain over time. And here's the good news. If something was built, it can be changed too. But first, you need to understand what's really happening inside your mind. You need to see why you are the way you are, and then you need to decide whether you're ready to do something about it. Let me tell you what your life probably looks like right now, because this story will sound familiar. You wake up with good intentions. Today is the day you finally start. Today you're going to work on that project. Today you're going to take the first step toward your goal. But then you check your phone, you scroll for a few minutes. Those few minutes turn into an hour. Before you know it, half the day is gone. You tell yourself you'll start after lunch. Lunch comes and goes. You feel tired. You feel unmotivated. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow when you have more energy. And the cycle repeats. At night, you lie in bed feeling guilty. You're disappointed in yourself. You know you wasted another day. You promise yourself that tomorrow will be different. You make plans in your head. You feel motivated for a moment. But when tomorrow actually comes, the motivation is gone. And you're back to scrolling, back to avoiding, back to doing anything except the thing you know you should be doing. This pattern has been going on for months, maybe years, and you're starting to wonder if you'll ever change. Here's what's happening in your brain. And understanding this is crucial. You're living in a constant state of conflict. One part of you wants to achieve great things. That part dreams big. That part sets goals. That part imagines success. But another part of you wants to avoid discomfort. That part wants safety. That part wants ease. That part wants to protect you from failure, rejection, and hard work. And right now, the part that wants comfort is winning. Not because you're weak, but because your brain is designed to avoid pain and seek pleasure. This is basic human psychology. When you think about working on your goals, your brain sees it as a threat. It sees effort. It sees uncertainty. It sees the possibility of failure. And your brain doesn't like any of those things, so it offers you an easier option. Scroll on your phone, watch videos, play games, do something that feels good right now. Your brain rewards you with a hit of dopamine. You feel a little better. The discomfort goes away, and your brain learns that avoiding your goals makes you feel good. So it keeps encouraging you to avoid. This isn't laziness, this is survival mode. Your brain thinks it's protecting you. But here's the problem. While your brain is protecting you from short-term discomfort, it's also stealing your long-term happiness. Every day you avoid your goals, you're building a habit of avoidance. Every day you choose comfort over action, you're teaching your brain that your dreams don't matter. And every night when you lie in bed feeling guilty, you're reinforcing the belief that you're not good enough. You're creating a cycle that gets harder to break the longer it goes on. Let me tell you what you're probably thinking right now, because I know this. You're thinking you're just not disciplined enough. You're thinking successful people have some special quality that you don't have. You're thinking if you just had more motivation, everything would change. But that's not how it works. Motivation is a feeling. Feelings come and go. You can't build a life on motivation. You need something stronger. You need structure. You need systems. You need to understand that discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you build one small decision at a time. Here's another thing that's probably happening to you. Perfectionism. You have such a clear vision of what success looks like that anything less feels like failure. So you wait. You wait until you have the perfect plan. You wait until you feel ready. You wait until conditions are ideal. But perfect never comes. Ready never comes. Ideal never comes. And while you're waiting, life is passing you by. Perfectionism isn't about having high standards. Perfectionism is fear disguised as excellence. It's your brain giving you an excuse to never start. Because if you never start, you can never fail. Let me be honest with you about something. You're afraid. Yes, if you actually try and it doesn't work out, you're afraid that you'll have to face the truth that maybe you're not as special as you thought. Maybe your ideas aren't as good as they seemed. Maybe you're not capable of the things you dream about. This fear is humiliating and paralyzing. It's easier to stay in the fantasy. It's easier to keep dreaming, planning, and imagining without ever testing those dreams in the real world. Because as long as you don't try, you can still believe that you could succeed if you wanted to. But deep down, you know this belief is hollow. Here's what you need to understand. Failure is not the opposite of success. Inaction is the opposite of success. When you fail, you learn something. When you do nothing, you learn nothing. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than you've even tried. The difference is they kept moving. They took imperfect action. They started before they felt ready. They built momentum through consistency, not through motivation. And that's what you need to do. You need to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating momentum with the moment you have right now. So how do you actually break this cycle? How do you go from someone who dreams to someone who does? It starts with accepting a hard truth. You're not going to feel like doing it. You're probably never going to wake up energized and excited to work on hard things. That's not how the brain works. You're going to have to do it anyway. You're going to have to take action even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Because every time you take action despite the resistance, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching it that discomfort isn't dangerous. You're building the muscle of discipline. Start small. Seriously, don't try to change your entire life overnight. That's your perfectionism talking again. Pick one thing, one small thing that moves you toward your goal. Maybe it's working for 15 minutes. Maybe it's writing one paragraph. Maybe it's making one phone call. It doesn't matter how small it is. What matters is that you do it, and then you do it again tomorrow, and the day after that. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be consistent, because consistency builds habits, and habits build lives. Here's the secret nobody tells you. Discipline feels terrible at first. Your brain will fight you. It will give you every excuse in the book. It will tell you you're tired, that you deserve a break, that you can start tomorrow. And you're going to have to ignore all of that. You're going to have to sit down and do the work, even when every part of you wants to run away. But you know what happens after you do that a few times? It gets easier. Not easy, but easier. Your brain starts to realize that the discomfort isn't going to kill you. It starts to adapt, and eventually the resistance gets quieter. You also need to change your environment. Your environment is controlling you more than you realize. If your phone is next to you, you're going to check it. If your workspace is messy, you're going to feel scattered. If you're surrounded by distractions, you're going to get distracted. This isn't a willpower problem. This is a design problem. Successful people don't have more willpower than you. They have better systems. They remove temptations. They create spaces that make it easy to focus. They set up their lives so that the default action is the productive action. Turn off notifications. Put your phone in another room. Clean your desk. Set a specific time every day for focused work, and protect that time like it's sacred. Tell people not to disturb you. Close unnecessary tabs. Remove everything that's not essential. Make it harder to be distracted than it is to focus. Your future self will thank you for this. Because every time you remove a distraction, you're removing a decision. And every decision you don't have to make is energy you can put toward your actual goals. Let me talk about something you might not want to hear. You need to stop consuming so much content. You're probably watching videos about success. You're reading articles about productivity. You're listening to podcasts about motivation. And all of that feels like progress, but it's not. It's another form of avoidance. It's your brain tricking you into thinking that learning is the same as doing. You don't need more information. You already know what you need to do. You need to stop learning and start executing. Close this video after it ends and go do one thing that moves you forward. Just one thing. Here's another hard truth. You need to accept that you're going to produce bad work at first. Your first attempt at anything is going to be terrible. This is normal. This is part of the process. Every expert was once a beginner. Every masterpiece started as a rough draft. You're not going to create something amazing on your first try. And that's okay. You're not trying to be great right now. You're trying to start. You're trying to build the habit of showing up. Quality comes later. Consistency comes first. Let me tell you what's going to happen when you start taking action. You're really going to struggle. You're going to feel resistance. You're going to want to quit. You're going to have days where you fall back into old patterns. And that's okay. Progress isn't a straight line. You're going to mess up. You're going to skip days. You're going to fail. But here's what successful people do. They don't let one bad day turn into a bad week. They don't let one mistake become an excuse to give up. They acknowledge the setback and they keep going. That's the secret. Just keep coming back. You also need to stop beating yourself up. Guilt doesn't motivate you. Shame doesn't make you better. Every time you lie in bed hating yourself for wasting another day, you're making the problem worse. Instead, practice self-compassion. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend. You messed up today. Okay, tomorrow is a new day. You didn't do everything you planned. That's fine. Do one thing right now. Forgiveness isn't about letting yourself off the hook. Forgiveness is about giving yourself permission to try again without carrying the weight of past failures. Here's what you need to remember. You're not lazy. Laziness isn't who you are. Laziness is what you've been doing. And there's a difference. Who you are is someone with dreams, with potential, with the ability to change. What you've been doing is avoiding discomfort because your brain hasn't learned yet that discomfort leads to growth. Now you understand the psychology behind your patterns. And understanding is the first step toward change. Ambition without action is just fantasy. And wishing won't build the life you want. But action without self-compassion won't last. You need the discipline to take action even when you don't feel like it. And you need the compassion to forgive yourself when you fall short. This balance is what creates lasting change. Here's what I want you to do. Stop watching videos about change and start being the change. Stop planning your life and start living it. Stop waiting for motivation and start building discipline. Take one small step today, because that one small step is going to teach your brain that you're serious this time. And if you take another small step tomorrow, that momentum will grow. And before you know it, you won't recognize the person you used to be. You've spent so much time imagining the life you want. Now it's time to build it. Not someday, not when you feel ready. Now. You just need to start. And then keep going, one day at a time, one decision at a time. That's how lives change. That's how dreams become real, through small, consistent choices that add up over time. You're capable of so much more than you've shown yourself. But nobody is going to do this for you. Nobody is going to save you from yourself. You're the only one who can break this cycle. You're not broken. You're not hopeless. You're just stuck in a pattern. And patterns can be changed. It won't be easy. It won't be comfortable. But it will be worth it. Because on the other side of this struggle is the version of you that you've always wanted to be. The version that doesn't just dream. The version that does. Go be that person starting now. See you in the next video.